All right, we've got the first 10 steps out of the 15 here done. We're only going to go to this point today, and then tomorrow what we're going to learn is how to customize this. All right. So what we want to do next, and we did this the other day, so if you'd all look up on the screen here, is again, I want you to click View, Other Windows, and right near the top, the second one from the top, choose Data Sources. You did this before. All right, so View, Other Windows, Data Sources. All right. That brings this up here. We did this the other day. Now, don't do anything, but just look up here for a minute. The other day what we did was we clicked on Departments, we clicked the down arrow, and we chose Data Grid View. And that created the Data Grid View for us. We don't want that now. This time, we want to choose Details. All right, nothing magical happens, but I want you to do that. So again, the steps, if I did them too fast or you weren't watching or whatever, we clicked View on the menu bar, we went to Other Windows, and we went to Data Sources, which displayed that Data Sources window. All right. And as it says, now we wanted to click Details. So we're up to step 13 already. Next, you add a Details view onto the form. How do you do that? You literally just go and grab, it seems to work the best when you click the little icon here and drag it over. And if it looks like this, that's good. Don't worry about the fact that it might be on the left or right-hand side. We'll fix that in a minute. So again, with this highlighted, we just changed that. We chose Details, then click on the icon, hold down on your left mouse button, and drag it over to here. That's it. Once you've done that, close this. You don't need it anymore. Now, a couple things about this. First of all, it's going to look pretty ugly when we run it because it's really pushed over. Yours may or may not be pushed over like this, but I'm going to go and highlight all of it by drawing a box around it and just put it up so it's pretty much in the middle of the screen. All right, it's not perfect, but that's fine the way it is. Okay, couple more things. First thing, the first department name, if you remember, is Information Technology. That's never going to fit in a box that size. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight both text boxes and I'm going to widen them out. All right, so that's the first thing. The second thing is those are really ugly headings. So I'm going to change the first one from depth number to department number. And don't worry, it's going to be a little big here, but that's fine. We'll fix that in a minute too. And the second one we're going to check and change to department name. All right. Now I can highlight both of these and drag them out so they're not so big. Move them over a little, whatever. There. Now that isn't perfect, but it's not bad right now. All right? And hopefully I didn't do that too fast. There was nothing that we didn't do in the first or second week of class. All right? We changed the name of a couple labels, and we took the two text boxes and we widened them out. That's it. All right? Then go ahead and run the application. And you see what you get. Now you should be able to peruse your way through here. Okay? So that is using a details view. We used a data grid view last time where we saw virtually all of our records. All right? This time we're using a details view, so we're seeing a record at a time. What we're going to do tomorrow is instead of doing it like this, and there's nothing wrong with this, all right? I want you to know there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. But what we're going to do tomorrow, and we'll do it probably in a couple different ways, but let me widen this out. You don't have to do this, but this is what we're going to do tomorrow. We'll start with, I'm not sure if we'll have time to do both of them or not, but we'll at least start with, we'll come in here, let's view our toolbox, all right? And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go up to our tools, just the regular ones that we've been using. So let's see. want to use date, I want to use there. And we're going to start by grabbing, like, for example, a list box. All right? And then what we're going to do is in that list box right here, it'll list all 6 of our department numbers. And when we click one of the numbers, then that information will fill in here. Does that make sense? So we're doing some customization. All right? And that's not bad, but what if we had 100 department numbers? Or whatever, not even 100. What if we had 20 or 30? Might be kind of hard to do it this way. So we'll go back and we'll change this. So instead of using a list box, we'll use a drop down. All right, or a combo box, whatever it's called. We'll use one of these. Okay? So we'll be able to choose in here and have this be filled up. Does that make sense? All right. That's what I wanted to get through today. Now that's really, it's early and I understand that. So, good, bad, or indifferent, what I'm going to do right now, and I've already got the answers out there, but I'm going to put this up on the screen, but I only want to put it out there for about 10 minutes or so. Because then while you're working on that, I want to go back, I'm still working on the other query. I want you, I don't care if you do this and you do it using phpMyAdmin, or if you do it using the SQL console command window. But I want you to bring up your Acme database, and I want you to write this query. All right? Those of you who finished the worksheet, this shouldn't be that hard, and if you haven't, or if you're struggling with how to do joins, all right, a couple people said, I'm turning in this worksheet, it's incomplete because I'm having problems with joins. This one forces you to do joins, all right? Now, just stop for a second. You may want to start doing this when you get up here. You may want to start typing in, for example, describe, and show all the different tables. There's only 3 of them, right? So you probably want to describe employees, describe departments, and describe city, state, zip. And the reason that you'll want to describe those is you'll need to know what the names are, etc., what tables you're getting, etc., and what fields you're going to have to join. So like I said, I'll leave this up here. It's now 9:20. I'll leave this up there till 9:30. And then I'm going to give you till about 9:35 or so to get this done. If you get it done in 2 or 3 minutes, then just take a break or work on something else until then. All right? But I will give you the answer to this. Be kind of nice if you're going to do this to put headings on there too. So use those aliases. And again, if you have not turned in the worksheet yet, make sure you have it emailed to me, whatever you have, by the time class ends today. Again, let's take a look at this. The first thing that I'm going to do is, this is the other one I'm working on, so that's fine. The first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure, of course, I've got to go back to my Acme database. I want to describe each table. So I want to describe employees. I want to describe city, state, zip. And I want to describe departments. All right. Boom. Now I've got all that stuff. The next thing I'm doing is I'm just going to, I put that in there as a big comment. Now it's much easier for me to go and take a look at what I want to be doing. All right. So what do I want to do? You don't have to type this in. You're getting this in just a minute. But I want you to watch me do it. All right. So I went and took every single field that was in there, and I gave it an alias. So I said, select E dot, what was it, just last name, or first name, sorry. First name, and then I said as first name. All right. As we're going through this, if you think this is just way too hard, then what you do is, if nothing else, write it as 3 queries when you first do it. Grab all your employees' information, then grab all your city, state, zip information, then grab all of your department's information. Then see if you can combine 2 of those tables together, either employees with city, state, zip, or employees with departments. Then bring in the last one. It's not that you have to do everything at one time. All right. For the next example that I give you, I definitely recommend you don't try to do it like that. So there's the first name, and then last name. Again, you may have called yours zip instead of zip code. That's really not that important. I think it's okay, yeah. Now, if I were to just hit the semicolon right now, it would be incomplete the way it is, but I could do that. But then I would get back 6 times 6 times 12 records. So 36 times 12 is 432 records. That's not what you'd want. All right. So when you're working with smaller databases like this, and you get back an unbelievably large result, you probably have done a Cartesian product join, which is not what we want. So we just want to say here where, then we have to start combining the stuff together. E dot dep number equals D dot dept number. That's joining those two tables together. And E dot zip code equals C dot zip code. And finally, we were supposed to order it by department name and then salary. And that was supposed to be in descending order. Let's make sure it works. Okay. Oh, it's dep name, not department name. So I always love it when I get to do this. So that should have been dept name. Unless yours is department. So hopefully that's correct. And there's the results. All right. Now in the handout that I gave you, you can see them all. It all printed out pretty nicely. That's why I did not include the city on there, which you normally would have included. I didn't include it because then it scrolls off the screen. It's too hard to read.
The department name or department number?
No, I said I accidentally put number down. If you put number down, then you only need to join two tables. By putting in department name, now you're forced into joining all three tables. That's what I wanted to have you do. You know, hopefully you can appreciate a little bit why the people who work with databases can make a lot of money. Because once you know the database inside and out, you're an unbelievably valuable asset to the company that you work for. There are even companies, and I'm not saying they're around here, I don't know, but there are even companies that when you go to work for them, if you're going to be doing some kind of a job, a database job, you may have to sign an agreement that if you leave that company, you won't go to a competitor for like 2 years. Because you get to be so intimate with the database, so to speak, all right, that you can be very valuable for a competitor. But take a look at that. I think that what I put up here is the same thing as what I gave you, all right? And see if there is anything in there that doesn't make sense. And if you struggled with that, or if you didn't get it, type the whole query in. We're going to be doing so many queries next semester, all right? The good news is the book that we're using already has a database in it, and it's got a working application with that database. That's the good news. The other news, whether it's good or bad, I don't know, is we're going to be developing something similar to that, but we're going to have our own stuff in it, so to speak. All right, so you'll have something you'll be able to pattern it off of. Yeah, again, the question got asked, didn't you say department number? Yes, accidentally. If we'd have said department number, we wouldn't have had to do this last join. We would have only had to join the department number, or I guess the zip code, and the city-state zip, and the employees table. And again, you don't have to turn this in. But next, when we get to this point next semester, this is what I'm envisioning. I haven't written any of this stuff yet. But what I'm envisioning is when you take your first test next semester, you will be building a simple ASP.NET website. We will add to that ASP.NET website with every test that we do. And we'll have to be able, do what we can. Those will be the hands-on tests. I don't even have any idea if they've got other tests and stuff written. I sure as heck hope so. I hate having to write my own tests because I screw them up all the time. All right? Yes.
So you didn't even have to do any join commands. You just did.
These were the joins right here.
I know, but like you didn't have to use like the.
This is the old-fashioned way of joining. You could have done inner joins. There's a bunch of ways this could be done. This is the way I was taught to do it years ago.
I'm saying so you don't really ever have to do a join. You can always do it this way.
You can, anytime that you do any kind of joint, you may have to change it around a little for a right or a left joint, but basically, yes. I like teaching it this way, not because I think that my way, this way is better, but I think it's easier to understand and look at this way. All right. This is the way up until one of the later versions of MySQL, you had to do it this way. Then they added all the other stuff, the on and the using and all this other stuff that we talked about. You could rewrite any of those in that way as well.
I'm weird that this last one you had is still not working.
Well, then the other thing I would look at is,
The names of it, but I looked at that too.
no, I mean, do you have that data in there? In other words, go back to your data.
Yeah, I know. I have all these things, like department, like columns, everything I checked.
No, what I'm saying is go back to here. All right, now do a select star. No asterisk. Just select asterisk from and say employees. Okay, then do another select star and do this one from city, state, zip. Star. And from. Looks correct to me. Let's go back and look at what you put down. Scroll up if you want.
No, I didn't use this one. I used this.
Oh, that's fair.
I have all right now.
Oh, that's gotta be, this should be depth number. That was correct. It should be key dot depth number. Should be the exact same as the way you did it there. No, got no here.
They're named differently in the
Oh,
file.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, then that's fine. And was it put, all right. No, there was. Let's get it here. You know, you're missing that table after salary. No, not, well, take a goal. First, let's make sure it works. Column, did you call your zip code or did you call your zip?
Oh, it's zip in this one. But see, it's still only taken from what's called the next zip.
And you had, I think you did it before, you had 12 in there.
Yeah.
And you don't have two copies of the same database. Okay. I mean, I'm trying to ask
No,
questions,
no, you're fine.
the more obvious questions to ask.
So you're trying to
not sure why some of those aren't printing, but you probably wanna go back and do an update to make sure they're all correct. Right? And I can put that up there if you need to see it, but I'm not sure why you wouldn't be getting everything. That doesn't make sense to
Even
me.
if they were like that, like why only need them?
Yeah, what I'm wondering is if you put them back, if you're gonna get all of them or not. Oops.
Even PHP, can't I go in and, edit it, like, quicker ways?
Now, if you tell me that's what you have, I honestly don't know what the problem is then. All right, I gave everybody a handout of this. I'm still doing it right now, so you can see I've got it down here. But so I'm asking you to try to write one more query. So you'll have to make the sales orders example database your active database, and then print out the following 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fields. I let you know the table each field was from. And then order the results by the category description in ascending order, followed by the vendor name in ascending order, followed by the quoted price in descending order. This should require a join of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tables. All right. Start by doing a described table for each one of them to figure out how you're going to be doing the joins. So again, I will give you a good 15 minutes. And I'll finish it up myself, and I'll do the same thing. I'm going to print you out a copy of the key. And when I say the key, there's always more than one way of doing it, but the way that I'm going to end up doing it. All right? So like I said, I'll give you about 15 minutes or so to work on that. Now, I'm not sure if anyone had a chance to even finish it, much less get it to work. It's a long query, okay? That said, I'm not doing enough joins, all right? I'm joining right there, and I thought I was doing enough joins. The problem is, when I went to run it off, I had to eventually do a control break to get out of it because I wasn't doing enough joins. So think about this. You know, if I'm joining together these tables, all right, there's like 40 products. I think there's 20 some categories. There's like about 10 vendors. The big one is this. That order of details has got thousands of records in it. So if you're not joining everything that's supposed to be being joined, you're basically, it's just going to join forever. All right. So what I did was I went back and found this, and if anybody wants it, if you don't have it, I can print that out again. But I have to figure out what to join with what. All right, I'll just leave that up there.
You could be this guy, impressing your kids with your Uconnect.
So, at the, on the, PHP My Admin, it works, but if I do it in the shell one, it doesn't.
I had, the problems that I had with the shell was, it doesn't always recognize line, either tabs or even hitting the space bar. It puts stuff together. That's why I was doing everything inside of the console window. I changed to PHP My Admin and it worked much slicker.
I was wondering if it was the spaces and stuff.
That probably is what it is.